Are you allowing your reason or your rationality to dictate your behavior, or are you allowing your emotions to dictate your behavior? And sadly, what we're doing right now is in the feels before reals generation is everything's about, oh, follow your heart, girl. It'll never lead you astray. Or on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your self-confidence is?
Oh, confidence?
Okay.
Yeah, so what would you say your self-confidence is? Scale 1 to 10.
It depends on the day.
In general,
You know,
this year.
I don't know. I would say I'm pretty confident, but I don't want to like shoot too high. So I would say a solid 8.
Okay.
You said in this past year, I was in a relationship that made me not confident. Now I am, when I'm single, I'm so confident. I know who I am. I know what I want. So I'm starting to get it back. I would say on an everyday basis, probably an 8.
What's your self-confidence, Tiff?
I would say a 9 because I'm not perfect. 10 saying you're perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I would say a 9 because I admit accountability.
Tiffany, one thing people cannot say about you is that you're a hypocrite. Nobody can say that you're
I'm
a
not a
hypocrite.
hypocrite.
Definitely not a hypocrite.
I will say that. Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say an 8.9.
8.9. What do you think, Barbie?
Confidence 10 all
10?
the way. I'm my biggest supporter.
10. What's your finisher in the ring?
It's a hangman DDT. So I do a DDT off the top rope to somebody.
That's crazy.
Oh, shit.
Have you fucked up someone's jaw or anything doing? Like I did pro wrestling for a short time in college. Like that shit is dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. No, I mean, because I train to purposely make sure that they are safe when they land.
Yeah.
So in that move in particular, no. Have I punched someone in the face for real? Yes.
The heaviest person you body slammed. How heavy could you? I got a guy who was 300 pounds off the
I
ground
would
one
say
time.
I've body slammed a guy that weighed about 220.
Yeah. There's a trick to doing it. Yeah.
There is. Yeah. You have to use a little bit of momentum and hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
I'm a 9 because I'm not perfect. You know, there's that.
Okay.
I'm a 9.
What do you think?
Self-confidence.
I'd say an 8 because
Right.
like it depends on the day.
Yeah, me too. It depends on the day or like what I'm doing. Like, can I open that heavy ass door? I mean, confidence wise, not very.
Why would you when you could have a man do it?
Well, I mean, I gotta wait around for that to happen, or I could just struggle a lot.
But it's nice when you're like able to do something on your own without a man's help, and you're like, yeah, I did that shit. Like I don't need that motherfucker. Like
Not
I
opening
can
bottles
build
of
my
water
own
for me
furniture,
though.
but I cannot open my own
I
doors.
can open my own jar, motherfucker. I don't need you.
That's the part I need help with the most.
Eight and a half, 8.5.
D, where are you at?
Like an 8.9.
8.9.
There we go.
8.9.
Nice.
Like just not 10.
You could be better.
There are some days where it, but
What do you think the average woman says to that question?
Oh my God, I bet you have the answer.
I'm a 10.
7.5.
What do you think? What do you think the
I don't know,
average
maybe-
woman says
I don't know, maybe
about her
5.
self-confidence
I would
on a
say
Because there's like the average woman,
5.
like, yeah, if she's like 160 and she's like 5 foot, like, I don't
That
know.
would suck.
Maybe 5.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, there you
I'd
go.
say 6.
6.
I say a 10 because bitches are full of themselves.
I'm going to say a 10 too
Yeah.
because girls love
6.
themselves.
Yeah.
6.
I think you have 50-50, either a 5 or a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And
If you live in Brickell, it's 11.
sometimes they might be.
That's
Yeah, well, sometimes they might be really beautiful, but like not even know it because of like
Interesting how you could.
relationships,
It's interesting how you go to
relationships.
beautiful when it's self-confidence.
Right. I just
Well,
did my
they could be
self-confidence when I
really
said 10.
beautiful, but they might not have the confidence because maybe they've been like torn down by
Do you
relationships.
think that? Do you
or
think
life
that
stuff.
self-confidence for women is based on their beauty?
No,
I think a lot of
not
it
at
is.
all.
It's not have to be
absolutely
vain.
not.
Because just like
Absolutely
she
not.
said, she's like, some bitches think they're 10s and they're fucking not.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot internally, but I also think that externally how you look at yourself in the mirror, and if you portray yourself as beautiful, if you think you're beautiful, then that helps a lot with your confidence.
I don't think it has anything to do with looks at all.
I
When you're feeling insecure, especially over other people, it comes
Yeah,
down
right.
to how you're being treated. And you start to create this new standard for yourself where you're like, fuck, is it me? And then you start to almost wear yourself down with how
It's like
other people
psychological.
treat you, where
Hey,
it's like,
So Bree, that is correct, but you also don't have to do that. Like you don't have your self-confidence doesn't have to
it's
do
also
with
really
anyone else.
hard when you're in the thick of it. Like, let's say you're like blinded in love, right? They say blinded for a reason.
Sure.
So I just went through it, right? Where my biggest compliment used to be, oh my God, Brie, I love how confident you are. I love the energy you bring into the room. I'm able to be myself around you because you know yourself. Well, I lost that. And so it didn't make people feel that comfortable around me because I didn't know who I was and I was really insecure. And it was just because I wasn't being treated properly. And it had nothing to do with my looks. It just had everything to do with how I felt as a human being.
I agree with you that your self-confidence can be affected by the way other people treat you, but there's also a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. You get to choose. You get to choose what your confidence is. There's another book I would highly recommend. Is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Like you get to, like I had the same feeling. Like my dad was killed by a drunk driver, and then my girlfriend broke up with me. All happened in the spring of 2006. And I got to choose what my feelings, not my feelings, but I got to choose my attitude afterwards.
That's kind of what I'm coming to now, where like I left that relationship and it was not due to a lack of love. It was due to the fact I really missed myself. And I was like, I'm not able to be myself in this.
Yeah.
And it's as easy as saying, oh yeah, but you don't have to. Okay, but when you're in it and all these feelings are involved.
Agreed.
I'm sorry.
No, I totally understand. But what my point is, you can have boundaries and then want to leave the relationship, but like how you feel in your own self-confidence. Again, we're all young. 100%. When I was 12 years old, if my favorite uncle yelled at me, is it going to make me feel shitty? Of course. Yeah. Right. If my best friend rips me off, of course. But overall, I think that is what the definition of maturity is. It is a function of gratitude and the recognition that you get to choose what your feelings are every day, regardless of what people do to you outside of this.
It's just really hard when you mix like love and relationships with this, because I can't speak for everyone, but I get so involved in other people. And I'm not
saying... Again, that's your choice. The recognition is that it's your choice, Bree, to do that.
It's also hard because that's probably just the way I was raised. And I learned this like in therapy and stuff. Like I trauma bond with people. I like connect with people through... They're like fucked up shit. And it's because of my own stuff. And I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's really hard. Even logic versus your heart. It's really hard to know something but feel something completely different. Like, yes, I know this logically, but when you're in the thick of it, I promise you, like, your heart is going to take over. Like, you're going to feel like shit over this.
It's that oxytocin.
For sure. For sure.
Making you stupid.
And I'll tell you 10 years from now, you're going to agree with what I'm saying. You're you get to choose.
I agree with it now.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you guys have any issue with this, there's a great book. It's called The Hurricane. It's about this guy named Reuben Carter, who was convicted of murder, sentenced to life in prison for murder he didn't commit. There's an attorney in Canada who finally came down, like paid for his legal fees. He ends up marrying the person. But in prison, there's a great movie about it. Denzel Washington plays Reuben Carter. And in the movie, there's this part where he goes, I chose to not even want to be free anymore. And because I chose to not be free, the system could not incarcerate me or my mind. He made a choice no matter how bad things were. And that's it. That's reality. And a lot of times I hear women do this. A lot of times they'll be in a relationship with a guy and they need endless validation. I'm not saying this is your case, but they need endless validation. And because they don't get endless validation, then the guy's a narcissist.
I think
he's not a narcissist.
At the end of the day, it really is mind over matter. Like, no matter how much I loved this kid, I knew that I deserved better. So I had to leave. It was one of those things where you have to put yourself first. Like, it comes back down to your heart versus your brain, right? Like, logically, I know that this is a problem, but my heart is so fucking in it. And at the end of the day, I really need to choose myself.
It's called feels before reals.
Because putting other people first, it's an act of non-self-love. Like, you don't love yourself. Like, I don't care how much you love someone, you have to choose yourself.
There's a theory called Triune mind theory. It's instinct, emotion, and reason. So your reason is your gray matter in your head. It's like really what makes up the composition of your brain mostly. Then there's sort of the emotional side, which is like a little bit deeper, like your hindbrain, like what they call the lizard brain. It's where your emotions are at. And then there's the instinct, which is sort of like your autonomous nervous system and your instincts, right? So like if you want to get away from like a dead body, or something smells bad, or somebody throws something at you and you flinch out of the way, that's the instinctual side of it. So you're going to do that no matter what. Like breathing is instinctual, right? So, but the emotional side is also a biological thing. It's not something magical. It's not like pixie dust that falls out. It's not like, magic rays from heaven or Brazilian power crystals. It's like, it's actually, there are reasons, or base emotions, and the base emotions are something you can choose to experience or not to experience, because assuming you can like revert to your rational mind. So, and that's the problem, is that there's always going to be that balance between those two. Are you thinking rationally? Are you thinking emotionally? And are you allowing your reason or your rationality to dictate your behavior, or are you allowing your emotions to dictate your behavior? And sadly, what we're doing right now is, in the feels before reals generation, is everything's about, oh, follow your heart, girl. It'll never lead you astray. Or I would never judge you for anything.
I think it's
that kind of
every
shit.
friend I've confided in throughout this breakup has been like, okay, but here's the facts. So the reason why you left isn't wrong. You need to choose yourself. Like, no matter how much you think you love someone, if they're just doing wrong by you and you are blinded in love, you really do have to put yourself first. You really do have to choose you.
Love is an emotion. Happiness is an emotion. Fear is an
But that's why
emotion.
feelings are
Anger is
so
an
hard. You
emotion.
can't control
Sadness,
them, right?
anxiety, depression, all that stuff. All of those are emotions. They're either base emotions or they're complex emotions built off of that base emotion. And so when somebody, and I hate this, I just did a whole video on this. When somebody says, "Oh, you're ultimately going to be more happy being married than not if you're out," right? You're going to be unhappy and I hate.
Depends on the person.
I hate the term happiness. I hate the term. This can sound really bad. I hate the term love. You're never going to find love, right? Love is an emotion. What emotions are meant to do, like biologically speaking, because it's biological. I can make you change the way your mood, how you feel, just by giving you tequila right now, okay? Or I can do something if you're on test, right? If you're on testosterone, something you get roid rage. There's ways that you can chemically induce the way that you feel. That's why when you go through a breakup and you feel depression, you go straight to get drunk at the local bar, or you're doing whatever drugs,
And
because
that's
you're
fine.
trying to re-stimulate those feelings
think
that you
that-
had before the breakup.
I think that it's okay when you go through something like grieving someone. Like, I'm grieving someone that's still alive.
I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. That's a judgment call, but I'm
I
saying the
also
reason why you
think
feel it.
that you can wallow in it for a little bit as long as you don't stay there. So when the first few days happened, I was sad, getting drunk in the shower, and now I'm like, okay, it's go time.
All right.
Like,
I love shower beer.
like now,
Shower
now
beer.
it's time to go. I allowed myself to feel sad for myself for a little bit, and that's okay to mourn the relationship or something that you lost. But at the end of the day, it's fucking go time.